Thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. The meeting will be starting shortly. While we wait, let's learn more about Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast channels 98 and 22. Channel 98 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 13, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Bi-Weekly Report with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.
And this is the Town of Exeter Historic District Commission. And to my right is Julie Gilman from the Select People.
Good evening.
And to my left is Gwen English, who saved us all by coming in at the last. And Grayson down at the end.
Good evening. How are you guys?
They'll be very nice to him. He's our new guy, and we want him to stay. And we are going to get right into business. This is HDC case 22-8. And this is what I'm going to call the old newsletter building. And these people want to put new windows and door treatments on it. And I know they have read the guidelines and know what they can do and can't do. So let's get right started. And who wants to open?
I can open for you.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Would you come up and talk to the microphone, because there are people, tons of people are glued to their televisions.
Oh, yes, I can
Okay.
imagine. Thank you. My name is Paul Mahoney. I'm with Hajar Management Company, as well as Exeter Realty Trust. And I'm here with Christopher Hajar, and as well as David Burton. And David is the one that we're going to have speak. He's from DB2 Architecture, and he's the one that is here to present the plan. But I just wanted to thank you all for taking time out of your evening, and appreciate the members of the board.
Thank you.
So I'll let you take over from here.
Good evening, everybody. So you said we could, this thing will...
There it is.
So as you said, we want to change the window treatments and the door treatments on the frontage of the building, facing onto Water Street. The idea is that on this side of the street, predominantly it's been office use up to now, and Hajar and the owners of the building would like to redemise the ground floor spaces to be retail spaces due to the lack of requirement for office space there. So in order to do that and to make it more attractive, they'd like to open up the window treatment at the front. I don't know if we can shrink the drawing down.
Or scroll down.
Yeah, zoom out, because we're only seeing part of it. Yeah, but so you can see at the bottom two photographs there, the frontage. Chris, could you just zoom into those? Currently, the windows, all the windows have been replaced in the building, it appears, to aluminum windows, with the exception of these windows across the front of the building, which are original wood, and also down the side, they're original wood. What we'd like to do is replace these wooden windows with aluminum storefront windows, and also open up the existing door there that's I don't know if I can point using this.
There it is.
Yeah, so this area here used to be a doorway, and we want to make that a doorway again. So essentially making this area into two retail stores, one at the end here and then one at this end on the left-hand side. These
Now,
windows...
Excuse me. Now,
Sorry.
you're talking about the Center Street side, right? Or the Water Street side?
This is the Water Street
This is
side.
Water Street.
Water Street, okay.
Yeah, so this is the Water Street facade. This is Citizens Bank next door. These ones up here are the side street.
Okay.
So at the moment, this doorway is closed off and is a window, basically. So we'd like to open that up and reinstate it as a door and make that an entrance doorway into the retail store at this side, to the left-hand side of the space. The space would then be redemised around here to create a space which would run down the side street here and would be the second retail space, and would have a window at the front onto Water Street, a corner doorway, which is on the top photograph, if you could scroll up, Chris. So this doorway here, there's a door on the corner, which at the moment is blocked up. So we'd like to reinstate that with a new aluminum door, and then add a new doorway here in place of the last window in order to create an ADA access, because at the moment there is no ADA access into this side of the space, and the only way, because of the road grading, is to create a very slight flat area in the sidewalk outside that doorway, which allows us to create an ADA access there. Right now, we're looking at new aluminum doors throughout. There is a possibility that the door that goes in here is one that we reclaim from the front of the building, but that would depend on how that looks once we get the thing out. But the idea is to keep this door here in keeping with the windows on the side of the building, and we're not changing those. The idea is to keep the facade facing the side road unchanged, and only change the area. Again, Chris, if you could just scroll down. Only change the area which is under the original sign band, which was created as a retail frontage. So we're trying to return it to a full retail frontage. And the wooden windows there need replacing anyway, so it's a matter of looking, rather than putting them back in wood, which brings the maintenance issues with it. Since all the other windows have been replaced with aluminum previously, we'd like to keep it consistent and put white powder-coated aluminum in there. And then the one question maybe about the space on this side, which if you could drop to the other drawing, Chris, the plans. Down. Yeah, so just go to the little plan on the right. Yeah, so these are the two retail spaces, the one on the left with the door in the middle. There's a staircase here that goes up to upstairs. We'd have a door on the corner, which goes into this retail space, and then creating an ADA access at the back here into that space. This space right now, the ADA access is through the internal corridor. Now, in the future, should the leasing kind of allow it, there's the possibility that this area will be reconfigured later on to improve the whole ADA access to both the spaces at the back there. But right now we have ADA access. It's not ideal, but it's all that's available really, because there is no way of getting anything in through the front of the building, being right on the road, and there's nowhere for ramps and stuff like that. So I think that's basically the long and short of it. I don't think there's anything else, Paul, from yours.
That's the basics anyway.
Yeah.
Let's start with your questions.
Shall I begin? I don't really have any questions. I appreciate the completeness of your application, giving us the materials and the drawings of the before and proposed jam details is something that we haven't had a whole lot of, so I like that, so we can make sure we're capturing what is appropriate. Just for background, can we flip to the picture that was there? From, This is from the 1896 bird's eye view of Exeter, printed by the Exeter newsletter,
Yep.
which is that building. And if you look at it, and it has the along the Water Street side, it has the 3 large retail, store windows, but 2 doors right in the middle. So one of those is still existing, the one that goes upstairs, but the other one's been taken out, and clearly everything has been changed on the front of that building. So what's there right now is not actually the original.
Right, we have, we only have the door going up to upstairs, and we have what was created to look like a doorway when the storefront was modified sometime in the past. And this doesn't have exactly the same detail up here above the storefront with for the sign band. So, and the corner is a little bit more ornate with the balcony and so on, which we don't have.
Well,
and we're trying to not change the building itself to from what it is right now.
Well, I think my observations are more about the application total, we go through 2 steps. One is to approve the application as complete, and then the other one is to talk about the appropriateness of what the solution that you've come up with. So as far as the application is concerned, I think we have the material, because this is such a to me, a simple project.
Would you like to make a motion to that effect?
Unless anybody has some other thing.
Unless we need something on the dimensions of the ADA slab for the side door, but I don't think that's super relevant.
Well, the only thing that would need it, we need a 5 foot wide flat area outside of the door. So I think there's wood. It's brickwork on the pavement there. So it would mean regrading. It's a very minor grade change just to flatten it out at the doorway.
So would this be asphalt or what's it?
No, it would use the bricks. You just
use brick. Good.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're just picking it up and...
just take the bricks up, regrade it, put the bricks back.
Oh, okay. As long as you talk to our Public Works people, that's fine.
Yeah, Public Works would probably be involved. We'd have to go through that. Yeah. That's because it's public sidewalk.
All right, well then, I will move to approve the application as complete.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Okay, it's been accepted, which means you do not have to go home and do more homework, which is very good, everybody. So now we're just going to start picking the fly shit out of the pepper, as my dear father used to say.
Yeah, I think I would keep that one to yourself.
Yes. So we're going to look at what these windows and doors are going to actually look like. And
if you could go to the detail drawing. Yeah, just the top of that drawing. No, here. Go to the details. Yeah, there you go. So the bottom there are the existing window details. So this is the existing window detail, and this is what's proposed. So it's the detail there is a wooden detail with some block, and there's a trim piece on the outside, which to create backing for where the frame goes for the window itself. Now the window is single glazed, so it's a very thin frame. The modern energy efficient glass and double glazed units are a lot thicker, so we're talking about a 2 by 4.5 inch aluminum frame, which would then carry the window, which would be approximately 1 inch thick overall. And that would be set on the wall. Now, the exact location of it, until we strip back the wood there, we don't know exactly where that frame would go, because it needs to cover the joints between the bricks from the outside face of the wall and the return on the inside. So there is a little bit of investigation that's got to be done once we start doing that work, but that can be moved, if you like. It won't affect the look. And then at the bottom of the window, as shown on the detail on the right there, existing wooden sill will stay in place that's there, and the aluminum bottom of the frame would sit on top of the sill, and then there'd be aluminum paneling over the top of the wood, which would give you the white face. That means that there's no painting requirement there. Again, there's latitude for that to move into the building a bit more, just depending on where we have to put it technically to make it work right. And then there are options for some panning details, which are small small pieces of aluminum to go in the corner there at the front, which could create a little bit more detail around the window. So I did bring some sheets that I can show you just so that you can see these. And these are just, there's a couple that are surrounded with a red box. So, if the frame got pushed back into the wall because of the technical details, there are options for these panning details to go in, which form they're like putting a quarter mold round to cover the joint and to create that extra bit of framing. So there's the one there, there's the M16175 on the front sheet, which is a small one, 2x2. And then on the second page, you'll see there's a similar kind of detail, the M14957, which is actually 3 inches deep. So there are options for different details there. And I mean, we can agree, that these can be confirmed later on as an admin level when we can determine exactly what the final detail would be.
I was just curious why the curved one.
Sorry?
Why you're choosing the pannings with the curve in them as opposed to just a straight block?
Well, I think there's no real. It doesn't have to be that one. I mean, that's the one we thought would look the best and give the most interest. The detail right now is just a simple piece of wood as a diagonal piece. That's not easy to form in the aluminum and would be a custom-made trim, which I think would be very expensive to produce, especially right now with the cost of aluminum. So using the standard preset pannings is the best solution, really, and they're matched to the windows. So, but I'm sure. I mean, Paul, we'd work with the town to come up with something that's agreed.
Oh, I don't have a problem with it. I was just curious where there's so many choices that are just flat.
That was just the one that we thought would look better and give the most interest.
Yeah.
With the other windows at high level and so on, you don't really see it so much. The original wooden windows would have had more of this kind of overload molding than just square sections.
I have a photograph that Ms. Jedham brought from the Historical Society that shows this building, we think given the car ages, which I'm not good at, the 50s.
Right.
And like we said from the old picture, the sign band is still different. Who wants to see it first? The difference between that, so what we're looking at on Water Street is a total change of what that building ever was, except for where that one door and window is on the right side in the corner. The rest of it, where you're planning to put a door in right now with all the big wood trim around it, that's, I don't know when that happened. It certainly isn't original, and it's not from the 50s. You know? So to me, the appropriate treatment for that is, you know, something better than what it is now. That's all I can say. But I did have a question about the side lights on that, and why you think you need them, or is it just because of the opening width?
Back to the photograph of that. No, the first sheet there, bottom line.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you could zoom in on the one, the after photograph. I think the thing that we don't need double doors in there, and it's too wide for a single door. So it just takes fills up the space. We don't want to start altering the structure of the building, and that was basically the reason. So we don't need a pair of doors in there.
I know you're using or changing something that is really unfortunate that happened to that building. Right. So I can't decide if it's more appropriate or not, because that
we need a door anyway. We're going to end up with a door in that location, whether we keep that or whether we took that whole detail out and redid it. So everybody's used to the way the building looks there. I think this improves the way from, if you see from the picture on the right there with the window in, it looks rather unfortunate the way the window's kind of just blocking off that space, and it doesn't look right. At least it'll look like a door, and it looks like it's meant to be a door.
And then the existing door now that goes to the upstairs level on the right.
It's the other one. That's the one on the right.
And
there.
so that aluminum new door will match the new one you're putting on the left.
This door is an aluminum door which would match this one with an open light.
Okay.
And then there'll also be a new door on the corner, on the splay corner there, which would actually be the door into that store. So the store here, the doorway would be right on the corner. But there is the second means of entry, which would be an ADA access, but also would actually operate as a second means of escape. So.
And the corner door it looks like we were just talking about on Center and Water. Is that going to be just an open pane versus the one here on the corner there on Center Street? They look like different doors, so I just couldn't tell if I was missing something or if they were going to be...
there's somewhere there.
It's the top left photograph.
Top left, sorry. The top left. There we go. So the door, looking at the historic photographs that we just had up there, this looks like it's similar to what was there originally, but that isn't used. It's blocked off, and I think inside it's just drywalled over. So the idea is to make this the actual door and put in an aluminum storefront door, which would have a glass pane in it to make it obvious that that's the way into the store.
Oh, then we're going to lose the scarecrow and the witch and all the people that sit there all the time.
So, but I think to Grayson's question was the door that you're opening up a window on Center Street to put in your second means of access to the commercial space.
On this one,
yeah, that one right there.
Yes,
and that one has muntins. It's not a single sheet of glass.
That was because we were looking at the door at the front that we're taking out, that we're going to replace, is a wooden door with muntins in it.
Okay.
So the thought was that if it's in good condition, we could reuse that around the corner and use that there, because it keeps in keeping with all these windows. because we're not replacing those and taking the muntins out facing the side road. So it's kind of in keeping with that, and it makes that visually not the main entrance to the store. Because it would be that corner door would be the main entrance. Now I know from an ADA point of view that's not what is required these days, but really we're having to deal with improving a bad situation, if you like, and trying to make the best of what we've got.
But I guess if I understood your question correctly, was that the retail door on the corner at the angle, that would just be one pane of glass as opposed to having muntins?
Yes, you can see it there.
Okay.
So basically, underneath that sign band, anything underneath that sign band will be modern storefront and the aluminum storefront. Anything around the side here, we will try and reuse the existing door. If it's not in good enough condition, then this door will be replaced with an aluminum door. But that would be made to match the windows.
Can you take a look at this one, and then I want those folks to see it too, just to look at the style of the breakup of the windows with the large pane. Yeah.
Thank you. So that has a head of the transoms.
In the corner it did?
No,
the large window.
Oh, interesting, yeah. Okay.
And what you're proposing in here is not, right?
Correct.
Okay. Because in looking at your cut sheet, you have some flexibility of where the horizontals go?
We can, I mean, those windows are totally flexible in that, if we, and I know in the street there are transom details on the windows opposite. So it's possible that we could add transoms in there if it was desired. Yes.
We don't necessarily have to turn this back to what it was, originally.
And we would never ask you to do that anyway.
I know, seriously.
Especially since nobody really...
Well, it's been abused.
Well, it wasn't abused, it's just changed.
I think the primary focus here is just improving visibility into those spaces to make it more attractive to a retailer. As an office space or a real estate office, the small windows work quite well because you're not selling product as such. When you're selling product, you want to be able to see and a lot more easily see movement, see product, have window displays, and the open glass is a better way of achieving that. But at high level, the transoms that you mentioned and so on, there's precedent for that on the street, and I don't see that would affect the overall visibility into the space. So there wouldn't be objections. Yes. Please don't go anywhere you're going.
But I appreciate that's actually some really interesting comments from the past, and I appreciate you bringing the history there. And if that would be, in the board's opinion, an improvement to do that, I love the ideas of at least thinking about that. That should be considered. Should it be that? If that's the case, we can do that. And it's a great perspective that you make about that entranceway. If that's not the original, here we are emulating it. Right, so if people thought in general, what's better for downtown Exeter is to be a little bit simpler and go without that and go with the transoms on top. I don't want to try to create this into a design plan for everybody, but at the same time, I don't think there's anything wrong with taking good ideas and saying, let's make this better, and we'll get it set up for the next 100 years.
Given that it's filling in of that white entrance, or white was an entrance, we think, at some point, and reflecting, that bottom elevation has just changed so much over the years. I'm not even sure it was brick under the windows
Right.
in the older pictures that we have. I would find it more appropriate, I guess, to have a transom along the big storefronts. I don't want that, what we have right now with the total Muntin grid thing. But just to sort of harken back to the original storefronts and like the ones across the street on those sides.
Well, there is a line there with the top of that, with the top of the doorway here. So there is a natural line across there that
would be good.
would kind of fit in from that point of view. And as we said, I think we were looking on the other side of the street, some of the windows there have that upper transom already.
Yeah. And I was, excuse me, I was just looking at the images that come with the
Yeah.
materials, and they have patterns like that where, there's such a band that creates a transom.
Yeah.
Do you guys get what I'm talking about? Sorry, I'm taking over the whole conversation.
It's always difficult with some of these things when looking to change. If you start changing what's there from a historical point of view, where do you take it to?
Right.
And if you do something completely different, then there can be objections to the fact that you're changing what people are used to in the street.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at the Center Street side too, where you're putting in the door, and I know whether you use the door from the front, the wooden door that is existing, or not. It's unfortunate that door heights don't match with what those window heights are, because it is steps up. So you have to have that transom there, and I find it an awkward dimension, but that's what you have.
Yeah.
Right?
Julie, can I ask your opinion on having the corner door match the front doors that are on Water Street versus matching the door on Center Street? 'Cause it sort of feels like
It's the top.
It sort of feels like that side is one image, and then when you're on Water Street, you don't see that corner door.
I agree.
And I don't know. I'm trying to.
I think this is the driver. The sign band for the storefront actually wraps around the corner there, so we
it
kind of
goes
kept
for the
it all under, everything under the sign band is the retail frontage,
Yeah.
and then the rest of it is the building.
Yeah.
So that's how we kind of separate it. Otherwise, you're kind of mixing
Right.
the message, if you like, on the corner. It's just unfortunate because it's at the angle. It does kind of interlope
Right.
around the corner.
Well, and none of these old pictures that we have that tree right there that blocks. So that being
We
the
didn't
case,
put that there.
I know. yeah, not
like
photoshopped
trees.
in there. I don't think it's inappropriate to put retail, single pane push door at that entrance. It's supposed to be an entrance,
Right.
and like
Right.
The gentleman said, this is not. It's not the side that it's like houses on fancy streets where they or like mine. We have the fake granite looking wood, and then the sides are just plain clapboards.
Right.
So this is the same kind of thing where you dress up the front and then the sides are whatever, whatever didn't cost as much.
Okay. Does anyone have any more questions for these gentlemen? Or?
No, I don't. I think the only thing I would make as a condition is transoms over the new retail windows, and to try as much as you can line them up with whatever fake door trim there is over the middle, the big white part. So try to find that horizontal to keep the same.
Do you want to make that a condition?
I would like to, yes.
So you would like to try to incorporate transom lines into the windows?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how the motion would work. Does anybody else have a thing? Because I can't remember the name of the sign band. I kind of want it to line up with the door. It's on the tip of my tongue.
With the crown molding of it.
Yes, thank you. So it would be how big is the pane? Oh, you have dimensions here, don't you?
I knew you were going to ask me that.
So they're 10 feet wide.
Yeah. I remember.
Okay.
I think we have the dimensions of it.
No, they're on the horizontal ones anyway are on the plan.
Yeah, I don't think we have the vertical.
Okay. Well,
We have all the horizontals. Yeah, so those windows are 10 feet, 10 foot 3.5 wide.
and that would just be all one sheet without any other.
That'd be verticals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it'd be 10 feet wide or just over 10 feet wide, and then the height, I don't have a height for it.
It's undescribable. Except for crown molding. Okay.
But we can confirm that when we submit additional drawing.
Well, I'm trying to think of some way to say this as a condition of approval.
I will say it. Okay, I will say it.
Okay, say
Make a
it.
motion. I move to approve the application as presented with the materials so presented with the condition of the Water Street retail windows be provided with transom lights to match the level of the crown molding over the new door.
Retail windows
Sorry, I went too fast.
be provided with
Transom,
transom,
To match.
transom molding,
dividers or
transom dividers, transom
The transom lights.
line.
But
There we go. Transom lights with the at a height to match.
to match
The crown molding.
the crown molding. Okay, then you understand that and you're good with that.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll say crown
All right.
above the door.
crown molding above the replacement door.
Above the replacement door.
And would approval of this be for another meeting or by officer?
No, yeah, our code enforcement officer is going to look at our decision. When we make our motion and approve or deny, you get a copy, and that's when you can go ahead and do it. But it comes through the code enforcement officer.
And I think we're pretty clear what we're talking about.
So I think that's the end of the motion.
Okay, do I hear anything else from this side of the room?
No, I'll second the motion.
Okay, then I have a move to approve with the condition that the Water Street retail windows be provided with transoms at a height to match the crown molding above the replacement door. And other than that, everything is fine. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Thank you, Gwen. All those in favor?
Aye.
Great, and that's everybody. Gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for a very, very complete application.
Thank you.
Okay.
And I appreciate your being willing to look at the different window configuration.
Copy of that picture, or I can even take a picture of it.
You can find it on the National Register of Historic Places, or actually at the Library of Congress.
Library?
You can download the image
okay.
for free. Just search for Exeter, New Hampshire.
Okay, here we go.
So,
All right, so that's that. And moving right along.
Good luck with the project.
Yes, well, I think it's great that you're doing that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. All right. And election of officers, we are in the same place that we were last month, which is we really don't have enough people to do much with.
Well, I think it's up to you three, because I'm pretty sure I can't be an officer as a select board rep, so.
Well, I'm clerk, but I can keep on doing this more or less indefinitely, except if we do have a big thing from Phillips Exeter, I am going to have problems with Mr. Layton.
Okay.
I mean, if we need someone,
Yeah.
I will
Yeah.
act as chair if it sounds like we need somebody. So
Thank you.
I'd be happy to do so.
Okay.
All right.
And have you got the minutes, everybody? Did you see what we did on July 21st?
Yes.
Yeah, I looked through them. I didn't really see anything.
Well, again, I have one very teeny, picky thing. On the last page, on the 5th paragraph, Ken said the windows are really nice and expensive, and he said the windows that are there, with a comma, I don't know why, are literally falling out. Just take out the comma.
Oh, that is little.
And other than that, I have nothing.
All right, I approve to,
I have a suggestion. Can I?
Yes.
On the first page, when we're talking about, it's the 4th paragraph, we're mentioning Jason and Emily. I think it would be good to put their last names in. And I can spell Jason's last name for you. It's Z as in zebra, A-J-A-N-O.
My heavens.
And Emily, excuse me, that's Emily's last name.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Emily Sajano, and Jason's last name is Murray, M-U-R-R-A-Y. And I just happen to have the architectural drawings for the last one.
Okay.
That's the only way. And then on the second page, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th paragraph, maybe put Mr. Ken Bevins, so that we kind of know who Ken is as we go through the rest of the minutes.
yeah, it's generally a good practice to include the full name, so we know who he was.
It's mentioned on the front, but it
Yeah.
kind of pops up there, and I
Well,
wasn't sure who Ken was initially, but
We
that
tend
would
to
help.
get informal here, so maybe we
Yeah.
need to smarten up a little.
Otherwise, great minutes.
Okay.
And I move to approve the meeting minutes of July 21st as amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Wonderful. Well, we are going to be out in record time.
I have one thing, and I don't know, this is why I had the mysterious envelope. We had changed our zoning ordinance a couple years ago to have just defined projects of minimum impact or minimal impact, so that not every sign on Water Street has to come before us for approval. Yep. And it's approved with a combination of the town planner and either the code enforcement officer or the deputy code enforcement officer. So there's more than one person making the decision. And a sign came in for a property on High Street, excuse me. which it doesn't look, it's a house that's been converted into offices. And Mr. Eastman was just a little uncomfortable with making the decision that this was not a project of minimum impact. I'm not sure that they want to, we can make them wait a month, only because that's the whole reason we put that thing in place. So I'm going to pass this down. I think, excuse me, I think the question really is about the posts, and is the granite appropriate for a residential area of town? It's on High Street, and they seem, in my opinion, to be out of scale with its purpose of advertising what are relatively small tenant signs.
Okay.
And so I just need to make a recommendation. I think it's by consensus of the board.
Okay, so how big are these? They are 72 inches, which is
6 feet.
6 feet. And how wide are they? They look very wide, but they're not telling me how wide.
6 feet is pretty.
That's a giant.
It's pretty tall.
That's a giant.
Okay, so what does our...
My husband's size.
Yeah, that's me. So
Yeah.
just, I'll stand up if you want to see how tall 72 inches of granite is.
Okay, signs in Exeter. What does it say? Types of signs, wall signs. Okay, freestanding signs. They are most appropriate when a building is set back and often reflect a building's style. And
See, that's the thing. It's late, simple Victorian, and they wouldn't have had huge slabs of granite holding up the signs back then. And I think it's out of scale myself.
66 inches wide, too. Is
Yeah.
that right? That's huge.
yeah, well, that's not going to help.
Because this is 15. Yeah, 15 on each edge.
Next to me. It's the second house up from Buzzell Ave on the left side as you head out of town. Has a so-called barn set back from the road. There's a freestanding sign there now with those companies just have little slats. Yeah. It's one of those things where you notice it when you're looking for it. So, you know. Well, you do see it, you know it's not a house because it's got a sign out front.
Yeah, that seems to be a bit much.
Okay, maximum sign is allowed to be 12 square feet. So what do we have there?
Well, I guess the question is, does that mean the physical sign or the sign including the...
Everything
Well,
together.
No, are you looking at,
I'm looking at
5.7?
zoning page 5-28
yeah, look at 29 because it's a sign
for the historic district.
in the residential zoning district.
Okay. A parallel sign is not a parallel sign. No sign may project from the building face for more than 3 feet
Yeah, it's number 3.
or be more than 4 square feet in size.
That's a projecting sign. We're talking about number 3, which is a freestanding sign.
Freestanding, one wall mounted sign is allowed. One freestanding or one wall mounted sign is allowed with a maximum sign area of 6 square feet. So now, are we considering the pillars as being part of that 6 square feet?
No, the question was in addition to, is the granite appropriate, is whether we're going to interpret this as 6 square feet per business or 6 square feet in total. And I believe in the past on that particular property, either the zoning board or maybe the HDC determined that it was 6 square feet total, and that
Well,
They're not there. They're close. I think the sign itself is 3 by 2 and 2 feet 8 inches. So, I think, no wait, that's way beyond.
Yeah, it's over 6 feet.
That's why I'm not a mathematician.
yes,
Can I see that?
here you are.
Well, on the first question, I think the granite's too much.
It's not appropriate.
Yeah. So I'm right out of the gate, but.
It really is not clear, is it?
So 3 by 2 point what?
So that'd be 2.75.
3/4.
Is
3/4.
over
3
6.
times 2.75 equals 8.25. So it's definitely over 6.
The sign area commercial.
And that's not even counting the pillows.
Right, and if this were in a, let's say, just to be devil's advocate, in the non-residential zoning districts, which the waterfront commercial area, for a freestanding sign, if it has multiple businesses, it has a maximum sign of 24 square feet. Now, 24 square feet is definitely not appropriate
Yeah.
for a residential zone, but the question is, we would be getting there if we did 6 feet for each business, because there's 3 businesses proposed already, and I think there's another unit there that might be empty. So that would get to your 24 feet.
So why don't you tell Doug that perhaps they should pare that down a bit?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, there are plenty of signs up there that they could copy. if
There's
they-
not a whole lot, but there are some.
Okay.
And did you say how big the existing sign is? Am I making that up? Did I hear that or?
I don't know the dimensions. It
Okay,
had-
yeah, so I was just making that up.
Oh, for what it is?
Yeah, I thought I heard that. I'm just,
Okay, it's 36-inch wide. Oh, I see. So we say not, so 6 feet would be just 2 feet in height. Yeah, they're just over by 8 inches. This is a weird situation, because this isn't necessarily something that has to come before us unless the code enforcement officer is unsure. So that's why it's here.
Well, I'm glad he's asking.
I know.
I think it's wonderful.
So just to keep going in circles. So right now, it's the area of the sign is itself.
It's too big. It's 8.25.
Yeah. The question then is, do we include the address as part of the advertising of the sign?
That's a good question.
Because if we change that, then they're fine.
I don't have my zoning board, does it have does it define the word sign in it? by chance?
Yeah, it's like advertising.
that doesn't
There's
answer the
several
question.
different, there's
Yeah.
several different
Yeah.
types of signs and
Yeah.
advertising and, yeah. But most of the other signs in the residential zones are single business. This one's a little unusual in having more than one business in it. So it's been easy to say yes to 6 feet by sign because it's only been one business.
It's part of the sign.
Yeah. Let's see, it's 8 inches over. So if they cut each business by 2 inches, they'd be fine.
Sign, definition, any device providing identification, advertising, or directional information for a specific business, service, product, person, organization, place, or building.
Yes, I think it would have to include
The address, yeah.
Yeah.
Included are graphic devices such as logos, attention-attracting media such as banners or logo sculpting, or obtrusive colored fascia, or architectural elements. Individual letters and/or graphics that make up the sign are known as the sign copy. Okay, but anything that's on there, basically,
Yeah.
is in the signs.
So then the question for me is let's take away the granite and just use a good wooden post, maybe with a finial, that, not a plain block chunk piece of wood like a fence, but that cuts down on the massing that you look at. But boy, yeah, it's big.
The one that they have now, where is it located?
It's actually a single arm one that where they hang and from hook and eye from one from the other. Yeah, it's. I think if you remember Kit Cornell's sign, that's what I'm thinking about for this kind of thing. You definitely will see it with those huge granite posts, but
It's not as much of a statement
yeah.
as a granite post.
So I guess the question is, do we want to have a hearing on this, or do we want to?
Why don't you ask him if he can, have Doug ask Mr. Lawyer if he could bring it down in size to sort of 6 square feet, and that we've considered that the granite posts are too big.
Yes. Okay, hold on.
And if they,
Lawyers, so ostentatious.
Let me just make a note of it, so.
of course, this could well be the same person who approved the giant hamburger on Clifford Street. And if I look at that,
What's that? I've been to the one before. It's
Yeah, right now it's
really good.
about 4 square feet of sign. No, that's not right.
It's doing really good.
217, 47 by 36, yeah.
would you like me to
12.
talk to Doug?
Wanted to go.
Sure.
Yeah, to go.
Give it to him.
Yep, let me give you the whole. So, yeah, his question is about whether it's 6 feet, interpreting the zoning ordinance as 6 feet per business or not.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
All right, people, thank you. That was a productive evening. Is anything else? And hearing nothing, then I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Second?
Okay, no discussion? We'll adjourn.
Thank you, Pam.
Thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast channels 98 and 22. Channel 98 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 13, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report, with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.